We here at Mayhem Media
understand the trials and tribulations of life.
No matter how hard life can get.
Suicide is never the answer.
There's more assistance available today than ever before.
If you or a loved one are suffering from suicidal thoughts, please don't try and take it on alone.
Call or text 988 if you live in the U.S.
Or if you're in Great Britain, call 116123 or text 85258.
The world is a better place with you in it.
Welcome, everyone, to Mayhemtainment. I am your host, the bad guy, JD, alongside a new guest, but hopefully one that's going to become a regular. He is a wrestler from the indie scene. We'll ask you in a second what companies he's from, but he is Brox Boulder.
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for coming on my show. Apologize for the thunder at the beginning of the intro. I need to turn that down a bit and bring it back up. So I saw you reaching for your headphones to get them away from your ears so it was an eardrum. But yeah, it's a little loud. I made it a little loud. It was accidental, but I'll fix it. But thank you for coming on.
No, thanks for having me, man. It's been a long traveled weekend, and it's a good way to wind down the weekend and get ready for the shoot work week.
Yes, absolutely. And I appreciate you doing it a little bit late. I'm running a little bit late today. I appreciate that as well. So you are an indie wrestler and you're a tag team too. You're a singles and tag team?
Yeah. So when I first started, I didn't think that the road would take me very far at all anyways. I got started late. I started at 39.
Wow.
I'm 45 now, so I didn't really think that the road was going to take me very far as it is. Met my current tag team partner, my only tag team partner I've ever had that's meant anything. My first night of training at our school, and we've been together ever since. And we still do single stuff, and but we've really hit a stride over the last 3.5, 4 years where we're every weekend with Grappling Inc. With my tag team partner Titan Troy. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Grappling Inc. is the name of your tag team. Your partner, Titan Troy. Shout out, Titan Troy. You're always welcome on an episode as well anytime. Maybe we can get the both of you guys sometime.
Love to. That'd be great.
So what companies are you working with right now? That's the life of an indie wrestler, right? Like you usually work with a couple of different companies.
Yeah, and man, I'm gonna try. Let's see. Hopefully, I don't leave anybody off. I have my own promotion that I recently opened in February called Aftermath Pro. So of course we're there, but some of the ones that we're at regularly, we carry tag team championships at Route 33 out of Spencer, West Virginia. Phenomenal company. It would be home if I didn't have my own place. I love that. I love Route 33. We carry tag team championships at XVW out of Fairborn, Ohio. Really another great place. We were with American Pro Wrestling at Beckley, West Virginia. Yesterday we were RRW Rated R Wrestling in Johnson City, Tennessee. We're with Elevate Pro Wrestling in Oliver Springs, Tennessee. We are what I think is the best promotion in Kentucky, and I am including OVW when I say this. Appalachian Mountain Wrestling in Kentucky. They run all over the state of Kentucky. They are by far the best promotion in the state of Kentucky. Very grateful to get to work with Kyle Maggard and his company there. We worked with Battleground. We work with Battleground Wrestling out of West Virginia. And I know that I'm just like hilariously missing some people here. Yeah. And I apologize. I'm not trying to. We like last year we were 48 weeks out of 52 working, and it's just hard for me to keep up with all of them. But we certainly appreciate everybody that gives us the opportunity to come to the doors and represent their company in some way.
I mean, if you're getting those kind of dates, then you guys must be, you guys must have found something that they're, the companies continue to bring you back, right?
Yeah,
Talk
I feel
about
like it.
talk about that for a second, if you don't mind. As an indie wrestler, when you're in AEW, you're in WWE, whatever, you got writers. They're writing you a gimmick. You're on every week to evolve a character and stuff. How do you make yourself into someone that should be in on like that's in demand?
You know, a promoter told me one time, I was just asking him about the match, and what he told me was, I give you the canvas, I want you to paint the picture. And it was probably the one of the most insightful things I've ever heard from an indie promoter. But for Titan Troy and I, it's about chemistry for us. Like I told you earlier, we started night one at FTC's Art of Grappling, where we were trained by Bobby Blaze, holler at Bobby Blaze, and the great Jillian Hall. And we started on the same night. We've had the same trainer since day one. We've done all the same seminars since day one. We've traveled the road together all these years. Our love for wrestling is the same as far as like our styles. And we click off each other. And one of the most important things I tell people about tag team wrestling is, and wrestling in general, is leave your ego at the door with everything that you do. And the cool thing about Titan and myself is we don't have an ego with each other. We want both of each other to succeed in every way. And I think that's the chemistry for Troy and I, starting day one with each other and just following this journey. Unless you come from the same womb, I don't think you'll find two people that tag team better than me and Troy as far as our
Yeah.
chemistry. That guy is my brother, and I would, I would bury a body for him tonight if he needed me to. And I think that's where we stay in demand, because we have a great chemistry, but also our upbringing in wrestling. We were trained by two real professionals in this sport, and they taught us to be professionals first more than anything. Respect the people that came before us, respect the locker room, respect the promoters, respect the fans, and be professional wrestlers, not just wrestlers. So I think that's what keeps us on the road most of the time.
Okay, that's a great. I mean, that's a great answer too. You guys seem like you're just focused on the wrestling, and that's what indie wrestling. At least that's what I found is not that I'm in indie wrestling or whatever, but being a podcaster, I get to associate with people and have people on my episodes, and it seems like sometimes, not always, but sometimes there's some drama in some of the indie promotions. Of course, I'm sure the big ones have drama too. I'm sure they have more
Sure.
drama, but
Sure.
it seems like the drama is always what gets in the way of the business and the sport. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on the independent scene, I'm learning, especially like I ran a promotion before I opened my own, and it was sold, and that's what led to me opening my own. But it seems that the drama in professional wrestling on the independent side is how can I outdraw this other person that's two towns over. And what I've tried to do since we started our own is, there's been a couple of promotions that's reached out to me and offered all the help in the world when I was getting mine off the ground. And I just, it made me realize, like, man, come on, why can't all the promotions get along? I mean, there's enough wrestling, you know what I'm saying? I always say we're embarrassingly spoiled in our area. In my area alone, Jillian Hall's from down the road. Bobby Blaze is right across the river from where I live. Chance Prophet is not far from where we live. He's a phenomenal human, as a great trainer, a great wrestler. Within 4 hours, you can hit any great promotion from where I'm sitting right now. And I think we do really well in our area to share the wealth of what we have here in independent wrestling. But I feel like if independent wrestling as a whole did that more, the drama would just drastically drop out of the business. So.
Yeah, I mean, you remember you're there to make some money. And if everybody's encouraged to make money and put on the best show, that's likely what you're going to get.
Absolutely.
And that's what indie wrestling needs the most. They need every show to be a good show, don't they? I mean, they have one bad show that could be potentially, that would be the last show.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is it takes everybody in the locker room. It's not just the promoter doing their job out there busting their butts to get the people in the door and people in the doors, but they got to book the right people, and they got to bring us in, and we've got to go out there and do our jobs correctly, be professional, stick by the rules of what they lay down for us. But also, we live in an age of social media. The promoters can still go out there and flyer the towns, and they should 100%. But like, if I'm if I'm booked on a show, I am sharing a snot out of any kind of flyer
Exactly.
that they're sending. Even if it's not my match, I'm sharing a snot out of it because it may not be someone that's on my list that they want to see my match. Maybe they see somebody that they normally wouldn't see at that place. They're like,
Yeah.
oh heck yeah, Brox Boulder and so is going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going. And it takes 2 seconds to share a flyer. For on our end, it takes 2 seconds. You know, when I was running the other promotion, and even with my school now, when we do shows, I encourage our students, you know, go sell 5 tickets each. And I have 17 students. You know, if they're selling 5 tickets each, I mean, that's nothing, you know, and our tickets are always super cheap, somewhere between $10 and $15. You're going
Yeah.
to spend much more than that doing anything else in out in town. And all of our stuff is family friendly. And, you know, if you're encouraging these people to sell 5 tickets, then do that. The other side of that too, Troy and I just talked about this last night because we had a 4-hour one-way trip.
Hmm.
When we set our rates to go to these places, we want to be as fair to the promoter as well. So if we're going to Tennessee, like we went for a little over 4 hours last night into Tennessee from where we live, I don't want our rate to be more than what I think we might actually sell on being on the card, because then it's not fair that I'm taking away from the boys that, you know, are in that area that might know more or have more fans in the area. But then it's mine and Troy's job to get to this place for the first time, which we were at last night at our RW as our debut down there. It's our job to do our job and make people want us to come back. So, you know, me and Troy always try to be really fair when we go out and set rates and things like that. You know, let us give you a show me rate. Let me give you a show me rate. Let us go do our job. If we do our job right, then let's talk some business down the road. That's a little more, you know, more fair, but whatever. I always want it
Yeah.
to be fair for the promoter.
I get to know your rate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do that in my business as well. So it's a nice thing to do. You know, you get a little money in your pocket. You may, you know, maybe make some business, and then, you know, maybe there's more business down the road.
Absolutely.
So you have your own indie company,
I
or
do.
you're starting it.
Yeah, it opened in February. Actually, we've had one event thus far, and it was in May, and then we've got 6 more planned for the year. Our next one being June
Wow.
13th. Yeah, and our first year, the advantage I had opening my own place, my own promotion was and own school was, you know, I've been doing this for a while, and Troy and I were on the road so much that like I had some relationships and some venues and events that we done on a yearly basis at the other place, that when I split from them with the new owner doing what he was going to do, those places contacted me and was like, we want your crew. And since all the students from that place came with me and Bobby Blaze to my place, it made it a little bit easier to get some events scheduled for the year. So I said, we've got quite a few left for the year, but we had our first one May 2nd.
Okay. Well, you know, if you need any graphic work done, you know where to go. Come to Mayhem
Absolutely.
Media.
Absolutely.
We're always looking to help the indie companies. You know, they're just like you do. You know, we don't want to charge too much, you know, to make it so that it doesn't work. You know, we want to be hired and get our name out there to make
Sure.
business. So yeah, we do a very similar thing when we with our relationships. So what's been your biggest challenge with running your own company? What do you say as a promoter? What's your biggest challenge?
You know, I don't want to jinx myself, but like the biggest thing I've found so far has been, you know, just finding the right equipment that fits for us. Like, so I rented a place and the ceilings were a little low, so we had to go buy a low boy to make sure that our training was going to be done, because we had a taller ring in there. So then we went and got a low boy and done that. But you know what? It's not been terrible. It's not been terrible, and it's not just because of me or I've had the best luck. It's because I've had the best support around me. I brought a bunch of students from the other place with me. Bobby Blaze, getting to keep him as a head trainer at my place is a godsend. All the students that were there, and people that was working with me, the other place came with me, and they are the best crew and support that I could ever think of. And then just building the right relationships outside of where I was at. Some of these other promotions, you know, shout out to AWA, which is a new promotion starting down in the Salyersville area, Kentucky, and what they've been doing to help us. They're having their first show June 5th. Just their support, like building the great relationships I had outside of the other place has really been a godsend for me in my place. So, you know, I'd say if I had to say the biggest challenge was jumping through the loopholes of starting your own business, which is the licensing, the business, is it's the insurance crap like that. That's all the people getting their take of my business. But as far as like the kicking off of it, man, I've had the best support, and I have the best students. I have the best staff. And the best. I just can't. I cannot thank them enough for making Aftermath as successful as it's been thus far. So
Yeah. Now, are you going to be putting your stuff on YouTube or on social media to try and draw people in, or?
yeah, absolutely. We have a Facebook page already, Aftermath Pro. I think we're a little over 1,200 followers currently, which the page is less than 6 months old. So I'm feeling pretty confident about that after 6 months, having a little over 1,100 followers. We do have a TikTok.
You have more followers than I have, so there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
We have a TikTok that we've not put anything on yet. I have a personal TikTok that I've been kind of mixing with our tag and mine and Aftermath stuff. So, but Aftermath does have its own TikTok, and once I find some hours in the day to do some stuff with there, we'll do that. But yeah, we're going to do a YouTube page and post our shows there.
Yeah, you're going to record your matches and stuff and then put them up.
Yep.
On
Our first show
on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, our first show is actually on YouTube right now. I have a great commentary team. I have a great commentary team in Doctor of Professional Wrestling, Mike Blankenship, and Walter Dixon that do our commentary for. But they also do our hard cam recording as well. And Mike will edit our shows and put them on YouTube. As of right now, they're on Doc's Wrestling Library on TikTok or on YouTube. And he's going to work on He's going to work on us getting us our own YouTube and put them on there. But he's our commentary team's amazing. They're great. I recommend them for anybody that wants commentary. They know wrestling, and they're two of the best guys you'll ever meet in your life. So,
and I recommend that for indie companies out there too. Even if you don't do commentary live, you can always add commentary after the event in order to post it on your YouTube or Facebook. Anyway, it's time for, and that's my biggest advice from an outsider to indie wrestling companies is with social media today, claiming that you are not getting big or you're not growing or you're not reaching the right people. With the way social media is today, you're just not doing the right work. YouTube, you got to get your matches up there. There's no reason. You don't need a TV deal in order to reach people, in order to bring people into your product. All you have to do is put it out there on social media. And I understand protecting. You want people to come to the shows, right? You don't want people. Yep. Oh, well, I don't have to go to the show. I'll wait 2 weeks and then the events will be up on YouTube. I can just watch it there, right? Like I understand that side of it. You want people to come in, but you also want people to know you exist.
Sure.
So I think even if you don't post your whole show or your whole card, or maybe you leave a main event off, or, there's lots of different ways to do it. I think if you're not filming your own content, you're just wasting money. That's just money you're never going to get back, because that match that you just did has not been filmed and now you're not going to get it back. So if nothing else, start filming your shows so that you have access to the content in case you ever want to do that. That is the world of today's wrestling, right? Brox, would you agree with that? That content. Being
100%.
Having a library of your own.
100%. Back in the day, you had to buy the VHSs or the DVDs to get to see this stuff. And now it's at fingertips. I can push a button and then my match be uploaded in a matter of seconds. And, the other thing I would suggest is get as many angles as you can. We do a GoPro in the corner of our ring. And then try to do a roaming cam and always have a hard cam, so that it gives us a lot more angles. And I stole the GoPro idea straight up, I'll tell you, from the boss lady right there in Route 33 in Spencer, West Virginia. I love her to death. But she said, I went there and she had a GoPro in the corner, and I was like, mind blowing, so simple. And I stole the idea, and it's got some of the coolest shots that we've ever had at the old place that I was running, and here at Aftermath. It's gonna be great. So it's all of it's at your fingertips now. There's no reason for people not to see your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you need someone to help you with some of that, feel free to reach out to Mayhem Media, because I have done some stuff. I know how to do stuff. So if you need a hand with that, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to assist or get involved. But that's great that you just started this new company, but you have all that production in place. That's what I think is going to put you ahead of the curve in terms of indie wrestling. If you have all this already in place, you're already doing more than what other indie companies are doing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, man, that it's just stealing ideas from other people. Like I stole the GoPro from Route 33, and then I said something about Appalachian Mountain being the best product in Kentucky, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Kyle Maggard does an amazing show, and his production value is better than everyone's. Period. And he's so strict about his production, but for a reason, he should be, because he has the best product in the state of Kentucky. But that's kind of why I went to those shows and watched him, how strenuous he is about, production value being a top priority. So I took kind of his lead on that when I done my own stuff. He actually, when I was at the other place, he came in and ran in one of his shows at our venue as just a partner and gave me some great ideas on how to do things there. And it's carried over to be a great thing for him to help me. And like I said, if nobody's not ever heard of Appalachian Mountain Wrestling, go check him out. Kyle Maggard does the thing, man. He does it better than anybody in the state of Kentucky. So
yeah, I fully agree with that. And like I said, man, with you putting the shows on already, like, and having a whole production team and a commentary team, that already is going to put you ahead of a lot of other indie companies right now. There's a lot of indie companies that aren't doing that type of stuff. They're just trying to exist show to show. And it's like,
right.
You're just not going to do that anymore. You're going to get squeezed out. No one will come to your shows because there wasn't any advertising, or, social media is really where you have to be, and you have to put your matches online. I think that is such a must. You have to get your product out there and what you put on if you want to draw people in. There's too much wrestling today, right? Not just in the mainstream, but even in the indie scene, right? There's a lot of different indie companies. We have a lot of professional wrestling on TV right now. The market is it's huge. So if people don't know you exist, there's enough content for them that they're entertained. They're not looking for you.
Right. Absolutely. And find something that sets yourself apart from everybody else. Like, even if it's just the smallest little thing, like the GoPro in the corner. It's just the smallest little things, the sprinkles. Bobby Blaze calls them the sprinkles. Find the sprinkles in wrestling that set you completely apart from everything else. It doesn't have to be the biggest, most enormous thing. It can be the one thing that somebody's not doing that just takes 2 seconds to makes the difference between you and everyone else in the wrestling business. And it's the sprinkles, man. Think about it. Ice cream's great, but ice cream with sprinkles is even better.
Absolutely.
So it's just, find the sprinkles for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think commentary, both posting on social media and commentary are some of those sprinkles that you should be using, with your ice cream, if you will.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So, how do you, let's get back to wrestling for a minute, just about you and wrestling. Have you had like a favorite match or something that stands out to you that you were like, this is why I became a wrestler, was for this match or this moment, or have you had anything like that?
I have. I'll just say straight up, like, any.
Oh, did we lose you, Brox? You
tag with
froze
him,
up a
tag
little
with
bit.
my brother. It's a great 100%.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
am I
Brox.
there? Am I there? I'm sorry. You got me back now. Okay.
Yeah, you're back now,
Good?
but we missed some of what you said. Can you give that to us
Okay,
again?
absolutely. What I said was, anytime I get a chance to get in a ring with Brock or with Titan Troy and tag, it's the best day that I've had. But I do have some singles matches that I've been in, and some opponents I stood across the ring from that have just made me better as a wrestler in the ring. And first and foremost, anything I've ever done with Jordan Carlisle is one of my favorite matches. He is a heinous prick. And he's been a thorn in my side since I've met him. But I've had some of my best matches with Jordan Carlisle. You can go on YouTube and type in Brox Boulder Jordan Carlisle. There's 4 or 5 matches on there. A cage match, which was one of my favorite matches ever, was a cage match with Jordan Carlisle. Me and Titan Troy got to tag against Jordan Carlisle and another great named Adrian Alexander, who's also a thorn in my side. But I've had some really great matches with him. But if I'm standing across from Jordan Carlisle, I know I'm going to get the absolute best out of somebody. So anything I've ever done with Jordan Carlisle has been top notch to me. He's a class act asshole, but that's what he's doing his job. He's doing his job, and he's giving it to me. One of my favorite matches I've ever done, just as a just from a wrestling perspective, is me and Troy got to tag with the Powers of Pain against the Powers of Pain one time. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Not getting chopped by Barbarian was not cool, but just living in the moment that we were tagging against the Powers of Pain were cool. And then probably finally the one that sticks out to me is I was in a 6-man match one time with Ricky and Kerry Morton. I was on their team. It was just 3 of us against 3 others.
Nice.
Getting a tag with a tag legend like Ricky, first and foremost was
Yeah.
by far one of my favorite things. But to see the talented son that he has in Kerry and hanging with him. And they told me this, like that, you done pretty well, kid, and I was early on in my career and they were like, you done pretty
Yeah.
well, kid. And I'm probably older than Kerry, and calling me kid, I was like, I'll take it, man.
Yeah.
But getting to tag with those two just phenomenal humans was really fun for me. And let me mention one more.
Yeah.
The Kazanas, AJ and KC Kazana, huge bungholes, but fun as hell to work, fun as hell to wrestle. I've had some really good matches with the Kazanas. Me and Troy have had some really good matches with the NWA Kazanas there.
Okay. Now, do you prefer like a high profile match, like a cage match, or like a kendo stick, or like a gimmick match, I guess is what I'm asking? Or would you rather have like a flat out, like a 30-minute match, like a good wrestling match? That's what I'm asking. Do you prefer to have like a gimmick match? Do you like the hype of a cage match or something? Or do you like getting in on those 20 or 30-minute, actual on the mat wrestling matches?
So it really depends. If it's a gimmick match, for me, it needs to make sense.
Yeah.
If I meet somebody for the first time and they've, they're just like, oh, I'm going to beat your ass in a cage match. Excuse my language, sorry, but they're going to want to fight in a cage match. I want it to make sense. If I'm going to get in a cage match and I'm going to risk life and limb, I want it to make sense. I want it to be worth something, same with a kendo stick or any hardcore match or I quit match or last man standing match. That needs to make sense to me.
You had mentioned that on another. You had mentioned that on another podcast, I remember, about how the gimmick matches, if you're doing it, there's a place for them, but only if they make sense. Don't just have a gimmick match just to have a gimmick match. It's got to make sense.
Absolutely. Coming from a wrestling perspective and a promoter's perspective, without pulling the curtain back too much, make it make sense.
Yeah.
But, I was trained old school. Bobby Blaze was trained by the Malenkos, Boris, Dean and Joe. And then you got Jillian Hall, who was trained by Fit Finley and Lance Storm, and it's old school. It's old school for me. So I love to grapple. I mean, our tag team's called Grappling Inc. So let's get on the mat. Let's chain. Let's get down and dirty and see what you can do. But I do like
art form.
It is. It absolutely is. And that's what I really like about Troy and I. Like he's a grappling god. That's what he calls himself, the grappling god. And let me tell you, within 500 miles of where I'm sitting right now, he is the grappling god. That dude can go. You'll not find a better in-ring grappling on the mat wrestler than Troy. And I can do that, not as well as Troy, as I shouldn't, but I bring the strength side of things. But that's the other part of me. Like, I love getting on the mat and getting dirty, but like, I love showing, hey, listen, I'm 5'6" on a good day, 5'6.5" in my boots. But I can hold my own with about anybody, strength wise, grappling wise, and I think what sets me apart is my intelligence in the ring. Bobby always says not to dwell on the fact that you started at 39, but your head's better than a lot of these guys that have been in the business or that are getting in the business. Yeah,
more self-control, more self-discipline.
Yeah,
that's something that people only get with age, and people like us who made it into our 40s and stuff. We don't realize it until we've gotten into our 40s, and then there's no way to transfer it backwards. There's no way to go back and give yourself that knowledge, but we don't have it until we've reached 40. Yep. So, and I can completely 100% relate to that.
Yep.
So absolutely. I just started the podcast in 2020, so we're getting ready to start the 7th year, here, but awesome. I was 37 when I started it. You know what I mean? It was late. So if I could take the knowledge that I have now and give it to myself at 20, that'd be somebody who'd be dangerous.
Yeah, I say the same thing. I was actually in a match with a kid today, and I won't give his name out because I'm going to give him his props, but I'm going to pull it back a little bit too. Like he's young, he's athletic, he's just one of those kids that you're like, okay, when he figures it out, he's going to be really great. And I'm just thinking, man, if I had the head on my shoulders I have at 45 in this wrestling business, and I had his youth, his 23-year-old, spring in his step, I would be dangerous. And but you know what? My journey has been. I got into the business not looking to be signed, which is crazy. I know when you hear that, like, you didn't want to get signed. I was 39. I got into the business as a bucket list thing, and the fact that the business continues to bless me and keep me around is more than anything else I could ever imagined. and I wouldn't change my career. I wouldn't change anything I've done, and I feel great for 45. I do have a 26-year-old tag team partner, so that helps. But
Yes, it does.
I as a singles wrestler, I feel great still too. And I'm not even considering stopping, but I am setting things in place. So starting my own promotion, having a school, and helping these young kids follow their dreams is my plan down the road. I'm not taking my boots off anytime soon, but I've got a young kid that goes to the school now, who's got a real promising career, and I'm going to support and get behind and push him as hard as I can. I got another one that's right behind him. I've got 17 students, and all of them I think have really promising careers. But that is my plan long term, is to make sure that they get to live their dream in whatever format it is.
Yeah,
like I have. So
yeah, that's great. That's great that you're kind of like paying it forward. That's the phrase I like to use. You know, you're paying it forward to the next generation to help them and stuff. And I think that's great too. I think that's what's great for the sport. I think it helps the sport when the old guys who are retiring or whatever, you know, help the next generation open up schools or whatever. I think that's protects the business is what it does.
Yep.
So all right, let's shift to, just for a couple minutes here. We've been going for 30 minutes. Let's talk for a couple more. Let's do some fan out stuff just for any viewers who maybe are chomping at the bit, wondering why are you going to ask him this question. So do you have a favorite like wrestler in the mainstream, not just in the indie scene? Do you have somebody that you like on TV, or someone that inspired you when you were younger that made you keep that in the back of your mind about, oh, I want to become a wrestler at some point if I can?
Stone Cold Steve Austin is my hero. As a 45-year-old man, I'm still enamored by Stone Cold Steve Austin. His rise to get as hot as he did, as quick as he did, is amazing, and that's why he's on the Mount. He should be on everybody's Mount Rushmore. He's at the top of my list. He doesn't have the championships Flair and Cena and Orton have, but he is going to be a staple as long as they are, because he's just what he done. But if I had to pick a current guy that I really like, and it's not going to be a guy that gets a lot of accolades. I'm just going to tell you straight up, he deserves more.
Yeah.
But I freaking love Chad Gable.
Chad Gable, a lot of people. Yeah,
man, I think he's the most underrated guy in the business. He's so strong. The things he's done with some of these guys that are twice his size. He's so smart in the ring. He's so determined in the ring, and you know, he kind of reminds me a little bit of another hero I have, Dusty Rhodes. So I'm sure everybody knows the story of Dusty going back to WWF and getting put in a polka dot singlet, and it was a punishment, but he turned it into Dusty freaking Rhodes. You know, he got over. I feel like the Shorty G thing was the same thing with Chad, and he took it and ran with it. Did not take his ball and go home. Just done his thing, and I feel like those are the guys that are true heroes in this sport. And Chad's awesome. I love Chad Gable.
That's something I always say. People are like, "Oh, they stuck him with a bad gimmick," and I'm like, and the first one I always go to is, dude, Perry Saturn got over with a mop.
Right. Yeah.
Don't tell me that it's a gimmick. I don't buy you. I'm not buying that at all. I return it.
Yeah. Al Snow, they gave Al Snow a mannequin head.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing, I hear DX in my head, and then I hear What's Everybody Want, and those are the soundtracks of my childhood.
Yeah.
Other than the Glass
I couldn't agree more.
So, you know, some of those gimmicks were the absolute dumbest things you've ever seen in your life, but they're what we hear. And somebody told me I was not really making fun of, but I was questioning some of these young kids today, like when the Tide Pod eating thing came out, or just some of the dumb things that kids are doing now. Someone looked at me and goes, "Aren't you a wrestling fan? Didn't you do the Suck It thing with DX?" And I was like, that was cool. I wasn't thinking of Tide Pod, or but it's kind of the same thing, the Suck It thing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It was stupid. We done our stupid things, but or we would reenact the Road Dogg entrance with our best friend and heading to the trampoline or whatever. So we done dumb
the
stuff
trampoline,
too,
exactly, absolutely. That's certainly where my wrestling experience comes from, is from the trampoline. Backyard wrestling. I had my own backyard wrestling, so that's where. But I did the full thing, like production. I used to do it at night. We used to set lights up so that we have lights go out, lights come on, just out in the backyard. So
Heck yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And in terms of Stone Cold being your favorite wrestler, Sting is my favorite. So I'm not going to give you any shit for Stone Cold being like an old head or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite Sting. Come on.
Yeah.
I've been a Sting fan longer than any. I was always a Sting fan, even over a Hogan fan. Like Sting, it was always Sting. Never anybody else. It was always Sting was my favorite wrestler. The white spiked hair and the face paint. You can't go wrong.
No, I get it. And I have just a little bit of Stone Cold in mine. I wear black boots and I wear black wrist tape. I normally wear a singlet because, just it's who Troy and I are. But I have all black boots and black wrist tape. And it's the homage to Stone Cold. Now, and I do that. I'm very methodical about things I do. The colors of my Aftermath promotion are purple and yellow. It's purple to represent Bobby Blaze because he wore purple in WCW when he was on Saturday Night a lot. It's a purple singlet, and Jillian Hall always was famous for her bright blonde hair in the Divas era. So that's the purple and yellow that I throw into my promotion colors. And then I have purple wrist tape that I'll wear occasionally just as a thing for Bobby, or yellow wrist tape. I wear yellow wrist tape today for Jillian. I always try to stick to what got me here. And I would not be sitting in this position talking to you today had it not be for the training I got from Bobby Blaze and Jillian Hall. I cannot stress enough those two individuals and their importance to this business. Bobby Blaze is probably the most underrated enhancement talent you'll ever meet. On my podcast, Hitting the Ropes, Buff Bagwell told me that if him and Tracy Smothers were in the room, they were the best two workers in the room. It didn't matter who else was in there. And they were in WCW together, Buff and Bobby. So that was a big thing because that was back when Eddie and Ray and all those guys, Dean, Chris Jericho was all back in WCW. And then Jillian Hall, I've always said, was a prisoner of her own time. Back in the Divas era, they didn't care how well you could work or what you did in the ring. They wanted to see what you looked like when you hit the ring and what you were wearing. And she was a prisoner of that because I'm going to tell you right now, that girl can go. Spending many hours in the ring with her, she's tough, and she had the opportunity to show her wrestling chops like these ladies do now, she'd be a top talent. Straight up would be a top talent, and you can't convince me otherwise.
I credit the women that went through the Attitude Era, and I mean even on WCW too, because even though the big get, WCW picked up Alundra Blaze and the whole belt and anything, but really they never utilized her in a right way at all ever in WCW after that. It was always hyping it, but then we never got the payoff. We never got the women's tournament.
Right.
We never got the rematch between Medusa. Like it was letdown after letdown, even in the WCW women's division. And I credit both Medusa and Trish Stratus, and Lita, like all the women who came up in the Attitude Era, because some of them are real wrestlers that can do things in the ring. And we didn't get to see it as often as we should have, or as much as we should have. We got to see flashes of it, moments of it, matches, but we never got to see what we should have seen from them. But without them putting up with that stuff, and still being able to go, like showing, all right, we're going to do this because this is what you want, but we can go in the ring. We can put on a match. So I think without them, then we wouldn't see where women's wrestling is today, though.
Not at all. And the other thing too is I wanted to one of my absolute favorite seminars I've ever taken. I've taken them with Gangrel. I've had seminars with Rip Rogers. I've had them with Bobby Fish. I'm name dropping like a little name dropping guy here, but I've had some really great seminars in my life. Shane Douglas and Tommy Wildfire Rich. One of my favorite seminars, maybe my top 2 seminar favorites, was Melina. I was 7 or 8 months in, and Jillian was able to get Melina to come to a seminar, and Melina and Jillian Hall and Bobby Blaze are all in the same room with me, and I'm like, how can I not learn anything? And I run a match in front of Melina, and Melina was like, that was really good. Now, I've always been a baby face, and not to pull the curtain back a whole lot, but in that training match, I worked a training match as a heel, and Melina was like, you were a really great heel. And Jillian was like, he's not a heel. He won't do it. He won't listen to me. And Jillian Hall's always wanted me to go that route. And
so you prefer babyface?
I I have such a weird personality. I have such a big personality, is what it is, and it's hard to hate me, is what I've been told. It's hard to hate me. Even the few times I've worked a heel, as early as last night, actually, in Saturday in Tennessee, by the end of the match, they loved me and Troy. And that's not what we were going for. I just to say it. That's not what we were going for. But they loved us. And it's our personalities. We are very interactive with the fans.
Yeah.
And it's just who we are, because, man, what are we doing this for if we're not doing it for the fans? I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap driving 4 hours and, wrestling and driving 4 hours home one night. That ain't about me. That's about the people that come and watch that show last night.
Yeah.
And if we're not doing it for them, get the hell out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. Like, our personalities are like that. We're doing it for the fans, and the fans have treated us great, and they like us. Even when we're trying not to make them like us, they laugh and think we're just, entertaining. And Bobby hates that word, but that's who we are. So
yeah. Well, there is entertainment involved in it, right? So
Sure.
you were saying Bobby Blaze, he doesn't like the word entertainment. Is he like a wrestler? He doesn't like World Wrestling Entertainment. Like, he's not a sports entertainer.
He's a wrestler, by God.
He's a wrestler. Yeah,
Bobby Blaze is a wrestler, and and
Yeah.
there's room for both. There's room for both. I mean,
of course
obviously,
there is.
obviously.
Yeah, of course there is. But I always like that, because people are like, they can't decipher it, or they think that, oh, it's all sports entertainment or it's all wrestling. It's like, no. These major companies and even indie companies that you go and see, you're gonna get different shows.
Mhm.
Not every indie company is gonna put on the same show. WWE, AEW, TNA, AAA, New Japan, they're not putting on the same shows. They're all putting on something different. So,
Right.
and I had a discussion with somebody else in the podcast, because he actually in the episode said, he's like, I'm calling out all the companies, because I don't think any of the companies are doing enough to try and get the fans. And I'm like, I couldn't disagree more with that. I think we've never had so much wrestling. I think the difference is that the wrestling fans are so diverse that WWE is no longer the giant that everybody still thinks it is. Do they have the last 50 years in wrestling, own the last 50 years of wrestling history? Yeah, of course. And they've been around a long time. So yeah, they're a bigger company, but they're not so far miles ahead of everybody else now. TNA, AEW, AAA, these other companies have been around a little while too, and they're putting on shows that people like. So there's
NWA the same way,
NWA,
Exodus and Crossfire and NWA, yeah.
It's just, you don't have to, like, everybody's like, always, oh, they have the higher ratings, and oh, they didn't sell as many tickets. Why are you even looking at that? Why does that even matter? Tune into what you enjoy and enjoy it. Why does it?
Right.
It doesn't have to be this. Oh, AEW is getting buried, and WWE's hemorrhaging money. Why does it have to be all that?
Right.
Just
I agree.
watch what you want to watch and enjoy what you want to watch. And if you have something negative to say, then just move on. That's the other thing. That's one thing that I've been getting into at the podcast and stuff. Like, yeah, it's fun to talk about something that maybe isn't working or whatever, and how we could, how it could be better or whatever. But if you're not spending some of your time in your podcasting to talk about what you enjoy about whatever it is that you're talking about, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. And that's the great thing about wrestling. I feel like that, there's something for everybody. And, I made this point last night that, sometimes you go to a wrestling promotion and they just like the heels better than they like the baby faces. It doesn't matter what you do, but everyone has their own things that they like. I'm not a flippy guy. I'm not a huge fan of the flippy stuff. I loved Ray and Eddie. Their match it was a Bash at the Beach, or not Bash at the Beach, or Halloween Havoc. When Ray was wearing all purple, one of the best matches I've ever watched in my whole life. But I'm not into the flippy stuff. One of my favorite matches I've ever watched, ever, and you're going to maybe fall over in your seat. One of the favorite matches I've ever watched was John Noble, who is a local indie wrestler who's done a lot of stuff. I think he's done ROH and stuff like that. John Noble against Thomas Latimer, when Thomas was the NWA champion late last year at AMW. I was actually on the card. I got to wrestle before them on the card, and then I got to sit and watch that match. The best match I've ever watched in my whole life in person was Thomas Latimer and John Noble. And shout out to John Noble. for being an absolute GOAT in this business. He's hung him up since then. But being an absolute GOAT in this business, and Thomas for I mean, absolutely tearing the house down with John and being great to me in the locker room. And that's a story for maybe another time. But Thomas being an absolute friggin' amazing human with me in the locker room. Best match I've ever watched in my life was on an independent show at Appalachian Mountain Wrestling. Shout out to Kyle Maggard for making that crap happen.
That's interesting.
That was great. That was great.
That's especially. It seems like you were a WCW fan back in the day because you brought it up.
Wasn't.
Really?
Funny enough, I wasn't. I was all WWF, WWE.
Wow.
I hated WCW.
Wow.
But that's the wrestler in me. I could appreciate the Eddies and the Rays and the Jerichos and the things they done, and the things I didn't like about the WCW was like I didn't like Goldberg's big streak.
Oh, no one. Oh, come on. Yeah, don't even get me started on Goldberg, bro. You're going to send me into a 5-minute rant on Goldberg.
I didn't like it. I didn't like Bret Hart in WCW.
They bumbled him too. Yeah, I agree.
They screwed up so many things, but they may have done the best thing in wrestling when it comes to NWO. It could be argued that NWO was one of the best things that happened in wrestling. So I was a WWF guy because of Stone Cold, but I could appreciate Ray and Eddie and Dean, especially Dean, because it's funny. It's so funny. I loved watching Dean Malenko back in the day, and I'm like, why am I so drawn to this guy? And then years later, the guy that helped train Bobby Blaze is the guy that I'm attracted to watching wrestling back in the day. That guy ended up training me, like Bobby ended up training me. So
Dean Malenko is one of the greatest that WCW ever had, and I think the NWO run, especially with Sting, and anything before that, even when they were getting going before the NWO, before they started really hitting their stride, I think they put on some really great matches in early Nitro history. And I'm a fan of the cruiserweights. Yushin Thunder Liger was one, even though it was at the end of towards the end of his career there in the middle of the 90s, was one of my favorite cruiserweights before there was a cruiserweight division. You know what I mean? He was that small guy. But he still could do big moves. He did the running power bomb. He did the Mexican surfboard, but he could jump around and do some other stuff too. So he was one of my favorite, cruiserweights, and Sting was always my favorite overall wrestler. But when people ask me about a favorite match or whatever, I'm always drawn to Bret Hart and Chris Benoit in WCW. I think it was a throwaway match. It happened on Thunder after Owen had passed. They asked Bret, who do you want to wrestle tonight? And he said he wanted to wrestle Chris Benoit. And it was only like a 20-minute match. It wasn't even a super long match, but it was the way they moved in the ring with each other. It was something different that you didn't see. It's not many people are like Bret and Benoit in the ring and are that kind of technical and can reverse and then double reverse and then you reverse again. Like that type of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I was talking about earlier. That art that's kind of lost. We don't always get to see. Too many people want to jump off the rope and walk the ropes and then do 820-degree rotations while you're in the air. But some of my favorite matches have always been where they're on the mat wrestling. Armbar into a hammerlock, into a wrist lock, into a leg bar, that kind of stuff was always what I was drawn to. And I think that's why I like WCW more. I was never a fan of the way WWE did their matches. Fist fight outside the ring, into the barrier, fist fight, in the ring, a couple of wrestling maneuvers, a finisher, and then it was over. It wasn't my style. But like you said, that doesn't mean that I couldn't respect the DX run. And the Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vince McMahon battle and everything else that came after that. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I can't respect that. It's just that WWE is not my cup of tea. I'm not a fan of the product that they put on. I like AEW now. You know what I mean? I like AEW. I'll tune into a little TNA. I'm not a huge WWE fan, but I don't want them to fail either. Too many people are tribal when it comes to wrestling, right? Even now, do you find that in indie too?
Oh, heck yeah, man. Like there are guys so there's in any promotion that's kind of local that they use not deathmatch guys, but guys that want to go out and just they want to come home a little colored up, if you know what I'm saying. And they're a fan and they draw and that's their thing. But then they'll come to a show that's mine or anybody else's, and we might not have a single hardcore match or something like that on the card, and they're like, it was cool, the stories were told and blah blah blah, but we want to see somebody fall off a 10-foot ladder into a bed of nails and not
Yep.
be able to go to work on Monday morning. And I'm like, well, if that was my job, then sure, let's do that. But I got to protect these guys. But real quick, before I want to go back, I said that I was a WWF fan, and I was, but my favorite WWF match was Bret and Stone Cold when Stone Cold passed out. And
absolutely.
there was not any of the stuff that you talked about. It was
Iron Man
Bret
match.
and Stone. Yeah, Iron Man match, and that was my favorite. That's my favorite WWF match ever.
That's
And
what I go to that one too.
It had that WCW feel before either one of them was really. I mean, Stone Cold had already come from WCW and made his run, but as Stunning Steve Austin. But yeah, that was a good technical match.
Yeah, it was.
Because a lot of people remember Stone Cold's run as Stone Cold, but Stunning Steve Austin and Flying Brian Pillman were legit, and Stone Cold or Steve Austin was doing stuff that Stone Cold never did. He was so versatile, and that was my thing for him, man. Like that's again, I wear the wristband and the boots, but like you want to go power, Stone Cold could, he was a strong guy. If you wanted to be technical, Stone Cold could. If you want to brawl, he could brawl. He was so many layers to Stone Cold, and I pride myself in that to not just be a brawler, not just be a power, not just be a grappler, I want to be multi-layered to where if you got this guy, and Troy and I have become the tag team that goes to a lot of these places, and they're like, all right, we got these green kids that really don't know what the hell they're doing. Can you go out there and make them look good? And we've got to that point in our career, and we're okay with that because we're just paying it forward. And I like that, where we can pull these good matches out. Some of these kids that have never had a good match in their life.
Some of the best matches that I've seen from certain wrestlers have been against opponents like Bret Hart or like Chris Benoit, or even a Stone Cold. You know what I mean? Stone Cold can put someone over too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's something that a lot of wrestlers forget, that it's not just you doing the moves. It's not it's the story. It's everything. It's the whole production, and it's also putting other people over. Even if you're the badass in a match, you can't just dominate. You can't, no sell, nothing hurts me. You have to take that. And that's an art form. And there's some people that don't have that as well as others.
Right.
And those are some of my favorite wrestlers. Listen, I'm not a huge Disco Inferno fan, right? But if you picked him up and slammed him on the mat, he would flop around like a fish with the best of them.
Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler's another one.
Yeah.
You think about Ricky Morton. Me and Troy joke about, he's Ricky and I'm Robert. And, Ricky Morton sold the hell out of everything, and Robert come in for the hot tag. But Ricky Morton sold the hell out of everything, and you thought he was dead. You thought he was going to die in those matches. But man, like
Billy Gunn.
I'm showing my age.
Yeah,
but
that's all right. Billy Gunn was one of those.
Oh, yeah.
I loved when he would, sell the rock bottom or the stunner. You know what I mean? It would be some of the best work. So, and Chris Jericho, I'm a fan of Jericho. He's great at just about everything he does. Chris Jericho right now.
I have a really great Billy Gunn story if you got a minute. It's quick.
Sure.
I was working for Appalachian Mountain, and he always does great with getting local businesses involved for sponsorship and stuff like that. And he was having Billy Gunn read some ad reads for some of the sponsors. And God bless Billy. He's so busy. He's all over the place. So he can't remember the name of the place he's trying to get the ad read for, and they cut it 2 or 3 times. And I'm in the locker room, so I'm like, man, what? He's screwing it up. What can he do? So I run to the other end of the locker room. I get a piece of paper. I write down the place he's supposed to say, and I stand behind the cameraman like this, holding up an ad or a paper with the ad run on it. And it's during they're already started recording. He didn't know I was doing it, so he's getting to the part, and he was like, I could see him like, crap. He sees a piece of paper and he just buzzes right through it, doing great like he always does. Now that he's got the piece of paper up there, and they cut. He was like, sign that kid right there. He's got a brain on him. Like he's got a brain on him better than any wrestler I've ever seen in my life. Sign that kid. Yeah. And of course he was joking. I'm still not signed. But and we done 2 or 3 more ad reads, and he was like, give him that kid and tell him to write him down. So I did. I wrote down the rest of them and I held them up for him, and he actually signed all 3 ad reads for me.
Nice.
They're hanging in my studio at the school, just because I'm a dork and a little bit of a wrestling.
Hey man, Billy Gunn's a shit, man. I don't care. He's had longevity just as good as any other legend. Just because he may not be a multi-time world champion or whatever, may not have the resume that other wrestlers have. He's still a legendary wrestler. He's been around a long time. He's done a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
And he's good. Furthermore, he's good. That's the other thing. He's good.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree completely.
All right. Well, we've been talking for almost an hour here, so I think we're going to get ready to close this one out. If you're
All right.
if you're okay with that.
Yeah, whatever you need me to do, man. I appreciate the opportunity and appreciate you letting me get on and tell a little bit of my story.
Absolutely, and I would love to have you on again. Let's do more stuff. Let's do, and I know how busy you are, so I won't be like, oh, well, we'll have him back, next week or whatever. He's busy,
Sure.
so we'll definitely try and have him back whenever his schedule permits. And if you guys are doing a podcast or you have your own podcast or something, and you ever need someone to fill in or you ever need a guest, you let me know. I'd
Sure.
be happy to come on anytime as well.
Absolutely. Love to bring Titan with me too. And
That's what I was. I'm glad
and-
you brought that up. I was just about to say next time you come on, maybe let's talk. Maybe bring your tag partner on, and we can do a show. Maybe I'll bring Connor on. We'll do a tag team versus tag team kind of.
We'll be ready to laugh. Me and Troy, we spend a lot of time on the road together, and we're goofier and hell. And I'll extend the invitation to you. I have a whole school full of students who are match and outside ready. So if you need somebody for a show, holler at me and I'll send you whoever you need or whatever you're looking for. I'd love to get some of my students out there and get some exposure for them.
That's what I was just about to say. You have students. If you anytime, I mean, I'll go through them all if you want. Just hit me up and be like, hey, I'm going to send this person to you, and then just give them my name or whatever. They can hit me up. I'll go through all your students. We'll give them all a chance to showcase themselves on their own episode. I don't have a problem with that at all.
I love to get their name out there. I usually stick them in the truck with me and say, "Come on, kid, we're going wrestling," and then I'll get to a place, and if they need somebody, they'll use them. And a lot of these places they take them. They like to use our students, and I appreciate these places having faith in my guys and having faith in me to bring these guys. So, Route 33 on May 9th, we just had a show there, and there was 11 Aftermath people there on that card.
Wow!
So I was very emotionally overwhelmed with the fact that there was 11 Aftermath people on this card.
Yeah,
that was all direct result of Bobby Blaze and myself and Troy, because Troy helps us train too. Just helping that promotion that we love. So it was great. So
yeah, and like I said, man, send them my way. Let's stay in connection. Let's have them on. Like I said, I'll go through. We'll give them each a chance to come on an episode and talk and they can also. I want to let you know too that our episode now is kind of obviously, unless this is your character. Was this episode in Brox Boulder character? Or
this is Brox Boulder. This is who listen. Wrestling, wrestling is just who you are up turned to 1,000. This is Brox, man. Like I'm a fan. I'm a nerd. But with Titan Troy. We're unstoppable. We are who we are, and we're confident in ourselves. And I'm confident in all the people at Aftermath. I'm confident in all these promotions that continue to book us. And this is Brox. This is who I am. If I'm in the ring, this is me. If you're sitting in a car next to me traveling down the road, this is me. If you're the only time you're gonna find a little different version of Brox is if you're in a training ring with me and you're pissing me off. That's probably the only other version you're gonna get. That's not this one. So.
All right. Well, you can let your students know that we can even do it in character. I'd be happy to, and I would be happy to interview any of your students or who they play in the ring. Let's put it that way, right? Like I'd be happy to interview any of your students or whatever characters they portray in the ring. I'd love to have them on. I don't have a problem with protecting kayfabe and let somebody stay in character and all that stuff. We've done that before, especially if you've seen any of our episodes with the Diamonds.
Yep. Perfect.
The Diamonds are quite characters as well. But yes, absolutely. So let's work together more. I'm always down to network and always have indie wrestlers on. Give them a chance to showcase themselves. That's why I still, even though Mayhem Media is kind of taking a little bit step away from wrestling, but that's not going to affect our indie coverage. Okay, it's just going to affect our WWE and the mainstream coverage. Okay, because Mayhem Media is not a wrestling podcast. We're not a wrestling podcast. We are an entertainment podcast. We talk about wrestling is just one of the many things that we talk about. But indie wrestling, I never have a problem with having indie wrestlers on because I love giving them opportunities to showcase their skills to try and book other shows. You know what I mean? If they want to come on in character and do the whole thing in character so that they can try and sell that character to another promotion, I'm totally down for that. I love that.
Sir,
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Appreciate that, sir.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it very much. Let's do it again. And let's have your students on, and you let me know if you ever want me to come on or do anything. And if you ever need any help with production or anything with your own promotion, you let me know about that as well.
Absolutely will.
So this has been Brox Boulder. What's your company? What's your company?
Aftermath Pro. Aftermath Pro. Yeah, we have our next event in Flatwoods, Kentucky on June 13th.
June
But
13th.
June 13th in Flatwoods, Kentucky. It's a comic and toy festival there in Flatwoods, Kentucky. And but you can catch Grappling Inc. About every weekend at different promotions. Like Friday, this coming Friday. This will air before then, but we're at American Pro Wrestling in Fayetteville, West Virginia. We're
American
back
Pro
in back
Wrestling
day.
this weekend.
That'll be on Friday night. Yeah, on
Yeah,
Friday
this
night.
upcoming weekend. Yeah, excellent.
Yep,
So
this
okay,
coming
so
Friday night.
there we go. And
Yep, and
follow
then-
him on Facebook. He's on Facebook, so go follow him on Facebook. Go
And
follow
TikTok.
and
Go-
TikTok.
Yeah,
And
go
af-
find go watch the dumbest TikToks you've ever seen in your life at
And-
Brox Boulder. Yeah,
And
yeah,
Aftermath.
man.
Aftermath
well-
Pro Wrestling.
Once we get some Aftermath TikToks up here, yeah. But right now it's just me on TikTok, and Troy and I we're filming our journey on TikTok, and we're making fun of ourselves and having a good time. So go check that out. That's
Yeah.
a good time.
Absolutely. And always entertainment. That's what we're looking for. Positivity and entertainment, things that are fun. So, and I'm a big fan of wrestling. I'm a big fan of indie wrestling, even though I don't get to watch it or follow it like I'd like to. So thank you, Brox Boulder, for coming on and talking to me. I always appreciate it when people come on my show and want to talk about anything. So I very much appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, buddy. I am until next time. Tomorrow, this is a recorded episode, so we're not going to plug what I have tomorrow because this will be released after that. So look for some upcoming episodes. Every other Monday, we have our Marvel Cinematic Universe episodes, and Game of Thrones House of the Dragon is about to start. So we'll be starting our After the Dragon show back up once that comes back on. So look for that stuff. Once we finish with the MCU, we're going to venture a little bit into Star Wars. So we have a whole summer planned for Mayhem Media. We have the whole summer planned with different miniseries and just kind of running series like the MCU. And maybe hopefully we'll be having some Aftermath Pro Wrestling, wrestlers come on a little mini series as well. We'll be rotating through some of them. So that'll be great. So stay tuned. We have a lot of stuff planned for the summer. It's going to be great. Visit our storefront. You can see it on the top of the screen there, bonfire.com/store/Mayhem Media Shop. Go pick up some cool designs on our apparel. We just released a whole bunch of new upgraded logos and stuff. So go check all that out. All of it is awesome and amazing. And 90% of it is made by our graphic artist, Robbie H, a.k.a. Mayhem Ecto. He's just a phenomenal graphic artist. He's amazing. And he does things by hand, and then he uses AI to enhance what he's hand drawn. He's got his own little niche right now in the graphic arts department too, with what he's doing by hand and using, AI and other software to like enhance it and make it better. It's crazy stuff that he's doing. So all that stuff's available on our storefront. Go check it out. Until next time, for Brox Boulder, I am the bad guy, JD, and that's the end.